Good. Good. All right. Yes. So today we talk about performance efficiency, where you will have to, let me disable annotation, right? Right. Which talks about utilizing IT and then computing resources to meet system requirement and also maintain efficiency as your demand and then technology changes. So as I said, it's about using the right tool for the right job, right? You don't provision a T2 micro for a job that is supposed to be handled by, let's say, a T3 extra large, right? So I'm talking about the instance types. They are not new scary technical terms. They are all there, right? And then in as much as you don't have to guess capacity, you'll have to look at, you know, using the right size. I mean, a feasible one for the start for foundations, right? So the key focus areas is also about selecting the right resource types and sizes, as I said, monitoring performance, and then making informed decisions to maintain efficiency. So you're also looking at making your systems perform at high levels, right? You make your system perform at high levels. So yes, there are also design principles that needs to be followed to improve performance and efficiency. So the first one is what? Democratizing advanced technologies. Now, this one helps in reducing interdependencies in the sense that if one system fails, then the entire system is failing, right? You have to structure your infrastructure in a way that even if one system fails, it doesn't affect the other ones, right? So it explains that using advanced technologies as service to enable teams to focus on product development rather than resource provisioning, right? So your system is off, and if anything, you will now have to leave whatever you are doing and then come and provision other resources, or you have to come and focus on, I mean, repairing or fixing errors, right? And going global in minutes. So you deploy systems in multiple AWS regions, right? For lower latency and then a better customer experience at minimal cost. I think this one is self-explanatory, or we are privy to this one. So this falls under the performance efficiency pillar, and also using serverless architectures, right? So that it will take off the burden of what running and then maintaining your service. So instead of using, if anything, an EC2 instance, right? Instead of using and hosting your database on an EC2, it is recommended you probably use an RDS, right? To take that burden of updating OS and then all that. You leave that one to AWS, and then you now focus on what? Just your data and then your
I go.
I'm not talking, or I can't hear him.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, you are back.
Charlie, what the phone is showing me shake today.
Quiet.
The fiber broadband that behind you. This one good. The connection could drop. Then
Oh,
they reconnect with seconds. That's
Charlie.
how it is.
Okay, so I think I ended at using serverless architectures, right? You heard that one?
No.
Yes. You know, when you pass.
Hey. All right. So yes, you use serverless architectures. I think I explained that. Instead of hosting your database server on an EC2, you look at using an RDS system, right? So that you focus on just your work other than coming to provision instances, updating operating systems, and then all that. And also, yes, experiment often, test new technologies, test new things, right? To make sure that you are keeping up as far as the latest technological trends are concerned, right? And then also having mechanical sympathy. It means that you make sure that your tech approach is always aligning with what your goals, and then considering data access. Your goals considering your data access patterns. So something like maybe in case you are using S3 for your storage, you have to make sure that this data needs to go to a deep archive. This data needs to go to a glacier. This data needs to go to probably infrequent accessed one zone. Those things. So you are able to align your business goals with as far as your data access patterns are concerned, right? And the foundational questions also for performance efficiency are categorized into 4 best practices. That is selection, reviewing, monitoring, and then you consider what trade-offs, right? And it also emphasizes the importance of using data to design high performance architecture, reviewing choices periodically, monitoring them, and then making trade-offs to improve what performances. Right. So that's also about performance efficiency. Question day. Today we focus early, so I rush it to the things. Okay, so Gerald got us the link. He said we should skip to 9 minutes 40 seconds. That's where scalability and elasticity starts from. Okay, that's fine. But I beg anybody, if you go, then go watch. If to affirm your understanding.
Why they get 403 forbidden?
Like, make you repost the link there. I'll reconnect from my laptop. So I know this people in the chat.
And they get 403 forbidden. You don't have permission to access this page. Why?
Mine open peacefully. No issues.
Why you not get skill builder?
I guess Google that account too. That be how you open safe. So I wonder why.
You copy the link or you click on the link straight?
I just click on the link.
Oh, then if open. Was my own open. Charlie, bad news day. The subscription we buy, okay, we finish the exam, so that we don't go use it again. So I share the logins plus Judith. So just like then detect that we are using the account on 2 different IPs. So there's so they cancel the subscription.
Oh, just like that.
Charlie. But they say I go for appeal, so but it means I for sure say be mean they use some for the other IP.
Hey, let me say.
Wow. Tight security, Charlie.
I don't know, but maybe check like someday she open win and be to a date up at the same time. I'm sure that be why.
The phone top will tell the open for machine top. Why they go block?
No, they say
the service then take bab you.
Is there?
When service then take bab you.
I don't know. Because the first thing that she did log on, I tell him say, I dey use them, so that one she no do. But after that, Charlie evidently, so I go appeal see.
If they don't go open give, make them give one a month. That's all.
That be your. But you see, the account will be individual, right? So anyway, we will go to cost optimization. So cost optimization is about running your system to deliver the best value at the lowest cost. So it's like we need low, no and high kind of thing, right? Making the best out of your system, so as paying for a little. So the key areas also is understanding and controlling your expenses, selecting appropriate resources, analyzing your spending, and also scaling efficiently, right? So first, the design principles are also grouped into 5. First one is adopting a consumption model. So you only pay for the resources that you need and also adjust your usage based on what business requirement. If let's say looking at, say, you provision some capacity, storage capacity, CPU capacities, and then you feel like, okay, you are underutilizing them, you can look at what dominates down to the desired, the desired minimum to use, and also measure your overall efficiency. So you have to measure your business output and then associate it with what cost to understand whether you are even making gains, right, from increased output and then reduce costs. So you have to also every day you look at, okay, the usage, right, and then your business output to make sure that, okay, Charlie, I'm me and I say me boka, right. And also, stop spending on the data center operations. Take everything to the cloud. So with AWS infrastructure, you are able to focus on your customers and on your project instead of data center expenditures and another. And also analyze and then attribute your expenditure. So identify your system usage and costs, and then attribute it to your IT costs to workload owners to measure your return on investment and then optimize your resources. Right. So you look at your general cost of operating an entire IT department, right? And then your IT costs related to it, and also compare it to probably utilizing resources in the cloud, and then look at how much you have saved, and then how much you have invested in, and how much you have gained out of it. So that is what we call the ROI, return on investment. And use managed and application level services so that it will also reduce operational burden, right? By using managed services for tasks like email and then database management, which will lead to lower cost per transaction, right? So you know that with the managed instances, there are a lot of things that are taken off from you, right? So you are able to also look at you focus on your project either than looking at managing resources or your underlying infrastructure in the cloud. Yes, and there are also foundational questions which are categorized into 4. You are looking at how are you aware about your expenditure, right? Which cost-effective resources you are using, and you're also being able to match supply and then demand, and then you optimize over time. So as and when your usage patterns, you identify or monitor your usage patterns, and then you tweak your system to suit that, right? And it also emphasizes trade-offs. Emphasizes the understanding of trade-offs and then prioritizing your cost optimization based on your business needs. So that is also about cost optimization. So it's all about understanding, controlling expenses, and then selecting your resources wisely. You also look at analyzing your spendings and then scaling efficiently, right? So that you don't over provision or under provision. You don't also guess capacities, so that you probably over provision and underutilize it, which will in turn, give you or cost you higher than you intended to, right? Know the kind of instances to use, whether you have to use per your use cases, whether you have to use reserved instances or on-demand instances. Even if you are using reserved instances, which type of reserved instances are you using? Is it an all upfront and no upfront, or a partial upfront? So all these things are questions are asked during the cost optimization pillar, right? So there is one that wasn't talked about. That was the sustainability pillar. That looks at making sure that your operations, right, your IT operations, and then the whole cloud thing does not have a negative impact on the environment. So talk about how disks are disposed, right, in the context of AWS, how disks are disposed, reducing carbon emissions and then all those things as far as the IT operation or the whole operation of the cloud infrastructure is concerned. So I think one question that I usually see is I think it was even one of the knowledge checks when it's talked about a company would want to make sure that their IT operations, their business and an IT operations doesn't impact the environment, right? So when it talks about impacting the environment or stuff that concern about the environment, then you are talking about the sustainability pillar. Question D. So that's about the pillars in the well-architected framework. Any question? Or if we need explanation on the ones that we have talked about earlier, let me check the chat. Oh, Charlie, yawa wanna skill builder thing. Uba go appeal am, I go appeal am. AWS there. And I know them for refunds and then all that. So I go appeal am, see. I just make happy say they don't even suspend my account. Because somebody was trying to even create an AWS account. They suspended it. She created an account from the same browser. They suspended it again.
Life been.
Charlie, I did suspend her to the third one. We didn't tell them say make she submitting ID card. Make she uploading ID card before then go open give her. Nonsense security. Intimidating security and then they do. Okay. Question over there. What is the time? It's 10. So yes, Charlie, Mo could go into the questions then. But I hope we are clear on the well-architected framework. The understanding is better now. One can say the chat.
Silence means consent.
Okay, so Mo could go to AWS boy.
Charlie, what you do expect? I think this well-architected framework, it check like elasticity, the scalability.
No.
In quality, that's my be and I be.
That elasticity and scalability, I don't go talk about them again, Charlie. Whatever you be, make it. Retire. Because you see, the funny thing is that anytime we are trying to do explanation, and then we'll come to a conclusion, we understand it very well. Then another time, confusion will come. Then we'll get another understanding that we all agree on. So we check
But you share the slide. You share the slide. The slide should be the final.
So the slide should be the final one.
The funny slide, that'd be all.
So we could stick to one. Okay, AWS boy. Today, I don't know what I do. I wanted to ask Judith. The practice exams, is it how the screen looks like? Hey, you people they see.
No.
You see your Google Drive document.
You put it see.
Yeah.
Nope.
I open the practice exam. Now this thing turn black.
They update them.
How well I think so.
And initially I'd be blue. So if you go black, the logo itself to check like go black. Better the logo to be blue.
Yeah, the logo to go black. So it means if you updates then do.
Relax. So
Or
now
maybe
open
you
the
graduate from
practice. The
So
practice
this
exams.
yeah,
So
this
they
one
get practice test.
yeah, so
So for all practice test get different color. When the practice exam to get different color.
okay, I think so because you see this one the button says be blue. So it means that this one so we do all the 4 or we do all
yeah.
Yeah.
So let Moku go to the practice exam. This one too, we'll go do them as we do them now as usual. We'll go with the majority and then later look at the explanations. Time no day for close early today. As not sorry for them, sorry. Okay, so let's start. First, but this thing there be some way. Let me zoom in small. Is it visible? Is it visible enough?
Yeah, good now.
It's so black. I don't know why they do so. Some way cry. Angela says she cannot see. Okay, you are going to try and read it and go see. A file sharing service uses Amazon S3. Okay, Ivy says. Okay, so she shares with her glasses. All right.
Actually, they watch from phone or laptop.
And are you using your phone or your laptop?
Hi, please, I'm not home, so in the interim, I'm with my phone, but I'll get home soon. So
Then that's fine.
Okay.
I'll
Okay.
switch to my laptop.
All right, that's fine. Hey, you got Angie should be a
Hey, no.
I don't know. The accent
And
there.
she stay US.
Ah, I see. Your company has a set of EC2 instances hosted in AWS. There is a requirement to create snapshots from the EBS volumes attached to these EC2 instance in another geographical location. As per this requirement, where would you create the snapshots? This one too is a to four ball. You have to fast. Do it fast. The answers no they come. C A, C D, I see C, I see C. No, I see A, C, C, C. I see A. Malai. Ebeji. Let me take my pencil and my notes. And now answer A going. A, sorry, C going. Okay. The question. A. Why 10 fights? Okay. Mami Kesua. All right. We'll go with C. Majority carries the vote. Okay, Jason also chose C. Yeah, so I've noted the question down. Sorry. Choose the disaster recovery deployment mechanism that has the lowest downtime. We had a question like this yesterday. Okay, hurry up. Okay, B. Yeah. Yeah, train. Yeah, 5. Yeah, first 5 are near to us. Questions plenty. As per the AWS acceptable use policy, penetration testing of EC2 instances should be what? Or is what? Or can be what? So A may be performed by AWS and will be performed by AWS upon customer request. B may be performed by AWS and is periodically performed by AWS. C are expressly prohibited under all circumstances. D can be performed by the customer provided they work with the list of services mentioned by AWS. E may be performed by the customer on their own instances only if performed from EC2 instances. Okay, so I see D. I see A.
I beg school and can see the question again.
Okay, so this will be the question. This will be the question. Like this. D. See two D's, 2E.
This
people they frustrate me today. I just press my phone. My phone on to Tiago.
This exam for do them online. You
I deal with like I die be that day. Okay, so I see D. So far D, but I think 1, 2, 6, 1, 3. Okay, so the D is plenty, so we'll go with D. Just to type answer. Jason, type answer. You type Yawa. Yawa be answer.
No, as you left.
I know, pa. Make you don't mind me. Which statement accurately distinguish AWS Cloud 9 from AWS Lambda? Select 2. With AWS Cloud 9, developers can share in real time a development environment with just a few clicks and pair program together. This is not possible with AWS Lambda. B. AWS Lambda can be used to create functions that runs in AWS Cloud 9 IDE, that is integrated development environment. C. AWS Lambda functions are dependent on Amazon API Gateway, whilst Cloud 9 IDE can write, run, and debug any code. D. AWS Cloud 9 provides an online platform to write, run, and debug code from the browser, whilst AWS Lambda functions can be installed locally. E. Without locally installing an integrated development environment, AWS Cloud 9 will not run. Okay, somebody say A and C. Jason says A and C. Okan says A and B. Godman A and B. Right, C and D. A and C. Sita. A and B, Fina. Okay, so I think A and B is the majority. An administrator would like to prepare a report that will be presented to the auditing team. The report is meant to depict that the organization's cloud infrastructure has followed the widely accepted industry standards of deployment, maintenance, and monitoring. Which tool can they use to assist them? Okay. Seeing A. All right, Charlie. No time to waste. There is an external audit being carried out on your company. The IT auditor needs to have a log of all access to the AWS resources in the company's account. Which of the below services can assist in providing these details? Another one, this. Okay. What is the value of having AWS cloud services accessible through an application programming interface? That's the benefits. A, allows developers to work with AWS resources programmatically. Okay, so if I see A coming in, going in. A disaster recovery strategy on AWS should be based on launching resources in a separate, continue the sentence, a separate subnet, a separate AWS region, a separate security group, a separate VPC. Okay. Oh, the squad are good. An organization utilizes a software suite that consists of multitude of underlying microservices hosted on the cloud. The application is frequently giving runtime errors. Which service will help in troubleshooting the process? CloudTrail, CloudWatch, X-Ray, Elasticsearch service. Hey, we na muju sisi won kwati X-Ray wa ima. Ukwati X-Ray no kwati anyway. There. People
Elimination by rough taxes.
Oh, picture now the 2 page,
Yeah.
That material get X-ray for inside.
Nje wana muhunu no. Okay, see X-ray. An organization has persistently high amount of throughput. It requires connectivity with no jitter and very low latency between its on-premise infrastructure and its AWS cloud build to support live streaming and real-time services. What is the most appropriate solution to meet this requirement? So we see data streams, Kinesis data fire host, and direct connect. Okay, so the Ds are flying in. Masa, why you put that service for anybody?
It is correct somebody.
Okay, choose A earlier. Which of the following is the concept of auto-scaling? To scale out resources based on demand, to distribute traffic to multiple EC2 instances, to distribute traffic to AWS resources across multiple regions, to increase the size of the EC2 instance based on demand. Okay. A startup company for social media apps would like to grant freelance developers temporary access to its Lambda functions set up on AWS. These developers will be signing on via Facebook authentication. Which service is most appropriate to use in securely granting access? I like that. I will see, B. So 3 C's, 3 B's. We have a tie. Okay. We have a tie again. Okay. B is leading now. Okay, B is leading. B going. B going. B gone. All right. According to the AWS, what is the benefit of elasticity? Minimize storage requirement by reducing logging and auditing activities. Create systems that scale to the required capacity based on changes in demand. C. Enable AWS to automatically select the most cost-effective services. Accelerates the design process because recovery from failure is automated. Okay. Which of the following solutions can improve the performance of a web server that receives high levels of traffic running an online banking portal? Following solutions can improve the performance of a web server that receives high levels. So A web server to be configured with a private IP address and hosted behind a NAT gateway. Web server to be configured with a public IP address and hosted behind web application file. We are selecting 2 anyway. For added layer of security, host the web server on a content distribution network. D. Use of SSL acceleration. E. Relieve computational overhead on the web server by offloading HTTPS session process to hardware security modules in AWS Cloud HSM. So I see CE. So improving the performance of a web server that receives high levels of traffic running an online banking portal.
I mean, scroll down to see.
That'll be your A, B, C, D, E. We are choosing 2 Osita. So I see B, C, C, D, E, C, C, D, C, B, D. This one, I go choose the one. With combination people, they make like that. I see AC come inside. Where? The combinations they come there. Where? Okay, so from the look of things, D plenty, E plenty. Why see? What be me my answer? Prince, so why you type FG?
I'm sorry.
See justice too. Come on, you for the call inside. Okay, so me my answer go be host the web server on a content delivery distribution network. I will choose C and relieve computational overhead on the web server by offloading HTTPS session process to hardware security models in an AWS cloud HSM cluster. So my answer will be C and E. Let me call Abdul. Make Abdul come. Abdul. Oh, Judith today here. Yeah, so me, I will choose C and E. Because hosting the web server on a private IP address and hosted behind a NAT gateway wouldn't make the application public, right? Because it's in a private IP.
What about the SSL acceleration?
Well, that's also visible one. But here, so the acceleration, the SSL be secure sockets layer.
Secure sockets layer. I choose about choose binenko.
That be the encryption, the end-to-end encryption.
But the acceleration will have to do with availability, right? But here they are also looking at performance. Well, the CDN also looks like God. Okay,
The CPN looks like a security.
NAT gateway can communicate with it. NAT gateway.
Yeah, Sebo, Charlie. Charlie, make everybody remember the remember them answer. Me, I go
think
for
our focus should be on the high levels of traffic.
Yeah.
So which of the answers go solve that problem of high levels of traffic?
Okay, so I think CD. Yeah, so security. So
Me, I think they will improve the performance of the web server. That we see these high levels of traffic. You know the talk say that it be too high. It's just saying it's too high that it is bothering it. It's just improving.
The CDN doesn't actually add a layer of security.
Yes, because there is a Route 53. A shield service in CDN that also protect against DDoS attacks.
And okay,
that is why I think it be BC because
so CB1.
Yeah, CDN definitely. I think it's BC one. That be my answer.
But I think it's E.
Okay. Me, I go choose D, but you go.
Okay, so I think if you could choose DE, and I think the combination most of them had E in it. So let's go for CE.
Yeah.
We'll go for CE. So make everybody remember this one. This one today, don't put the question numbers anywhere. We update this. Yeah, so let me look at server. Which of the following are advantages of having infrastructure hosted on the AWS cloud? Choose two answers from the options given below. Let's see. Okay. Edu says BC, right? So we choose BC. During a live sports event in a remote location, local photographers are required to promptly upload images into an Amazon S3 bucket for processing by the editorial team. How can this process be optimized? A. Using cross-region replication. B. Using S3 transfer acceleration. C. Using S3 standard as the object storage class. D. Using an FTP server with a web interface. C, D, C. Yeah, C, B, B. So far, C is the, okay, 1, 3 C's, 3 B's. Okay. B. All right. The answer B. I think is correct too. Select which use case scenario best suits the implementation of Amazon RDS. Okay. X saying select which use.
Yeah, I don't want me to be wrong.
Okay. Select which use case scenario that best suits the implementation of Amazon RDS database instance over a NoSQL or a non-relational database. So A, where data sets are constantly evolving and cannot be confined to a static data schema, where vertical scaling of the database resources is not permissible and is seldom necessary. B, in an organization whose data sets are dynamic and document-based, in an organization where only a finite number of processes query the database in predictable and well-structured schemas. Okay. Richard chose A. Have D. A new department has recently joined the organization, and the administrator needs to compose access permissions for the group of users. Given that they have varying roles and access needs, what's the best practice approach when granting access? A. After gathering information on their access needs, the administrator should allow every user to access the most common resources and privileges on the system. B. The administrator should grant all users the same permissions and then grant more upon request. C. The administrator should grant all users the least privilege and add more privileges to only to those who need it. And then D. Users should solve yourself. Somebody chose an answer earlier and I think he has deleted it.
Be a name mistake.
Company needs to know which user was responsible for terminating several critical Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud instances. Where can the customer find this information? A business analyst would like to move away from creating complex database queries and static spreadsheet when generating regular reports for high-level management. They would like to dynamically publish insightful, graphically appealing reports with interactive dashboards. Which service can they use to accomplish this? QuickSight, Business Intelligence on Amazon Redshift, Amazon CloudWatch dashboards, Amazon Athena, integrated with Amazon Glue.
We they use QuickSight for Office.
Is there?
I said we they use QuickSight for Office.
What is the AWS feature that enables fast, easy, and secure transfers of files over long distances between your client and your Amazon S3 bucket? File transfer, HTTP transfer, S3 transfer acceleration, S3 acceleration. Shine your blessings, oh my God. Okay, so you have a C. S3 intelligent tiering. S3 intelligent tiering object storage class delivers automatic cost savings by moving data between which of the two access tiers? Standard access and frequent access, frequent access and infrequent access, standard access and infrequent access, standard access and one zone infrequent access. Okay, I'll go to make I choose B. No answer they come again. There is a requirement to store objects. The object must be downloadable via a URL. Which storage option? Maybe B I chose, that be the, okay, so people choose C. All right. There is a requirement to store objects. The object must be downloadable via a URL. Which storage? We switch to 4 fast. Okay. Which of the following is a factor when calculating total cost of ownership for the AWS cloud? Number of migrated servers, number of migrated users, number of passwords, number of keys. Oh, answer Mao. Okay. A web administrator maintains several public and private web-based resources for an organization. Which service can they use to keep track of the expiry dates of SSL or TLS certificate, as well as updating and renewal? A, data lifecycle manager. B, license manager. C, firewall manager. D, certificate manager. I like how the D came in full force. An administrator would like to efficiently automate the application and deployment of a specific software configuration existent on one EC2 instance onto 400 others. Which AWS service is best suited for this implementation? Okay, this implementation, what is it called? I mean, the procedure, there is a term for it. You people choosing A is what? There's a two term that is used to describe this thing. Replication of a kind of deployment or a software is what? One typing. The answer is A, but I want the ops work use something to do that. That B is not testing. There is a word B. There's some two group of word, something and something. Yes, beautiful Kunedu. That's chef and puppet. Which of the following is the responsibility of the customer when ensuring that data on EBS volumes is kept safe? We soon tentem. This one, quick. Okay. In cost optimization, what is referred to as EC2 right sizing? And if I see plenty like this, then my eyes they do me some. Cost optimization. In cost of what is referred to as right sizing. A, it is a cost-effective solution to determine the appropriate Amazon EC2 resources such as memory, processor, and storage when provisioning an instance type. B, it analyzes the data over a period of time to determine and recommend the type of Amazon EC2 instances appropriate for your workload. C, it is the scaling down or scaling up of Amazon EC2 instances and instance types to meet workload demand by maintaining only the threshold resources. And a cost of saving that outlines the recommendation of the best practices for aspect name. Okay, VA. B. B. Make I wait some more. I'll presume squad they reach. Okay, but B. All right. An administrator noticed a consistent spike in processor and memory activity on the organization's web servers that host a large web application. This was after installing secure socket layer or transport layer security, that's SSL or TLS for security. This increased activity degraded the web application's responsiveness. What is the best practice solution to solve the situation? A, migrate the web application onto an M4 large EC2 instance with robust compute processing and networking capabilities. Offload the SSL or TLS from running locally to cloud HSM. C, create an auto-scaling group that scales out as traffic to the web application cluster increases. D, create a custom CloudWatch metric to monitor. When count. What will be the answer? Hey, with the auto-scaling, bear with the okay. CCC. Two B's, three C's. Asa. Anamo Jenho. Anamada. Obiawa.
Yeah.
You people they think about it in it. Muma answer.
Yeah.
Okay, make a watch. MD times 2D. Okay. Okay, so majority is C. I disagree though, but I'll choose B. Which AWS service provides infrastructure security optimization recommendations? With my enche with the fala. They didn't name back fala for consolation. Prince and okay, you people the bed ala.
Meanwhile,
What
do
is
something else.
Okay. What is the best suited file storage option for use when an administrator is looking to deploy shared file access, Linux-based workloads, which will require up to petabyte of data stores? Note the question number. I've noted it down. This one, if I see the majority answers, I will say something. This is what I was looking for. So this one, I go explain them, go move on. Yes, that's what iPhone. iPhone, what be your name? iPhone said. So we are looking at shared file access. So I know the petabyte will sway some people. Okay, say fast. All right. The petabyte will sway some people, but yes, we are looking at shared file access. So EFS is correct. The trusted advisor service provides insight regarding which 5 categories of AWS account? A, security, fault tolerance, high availability, connectivity, and service limit. Security, access control, high availability, performance, and service limit. Performance, cost optimization, security, fault tolerance, and service limit. Performance, cost optimization, access control, connectivity, and service. Okay, I'm saying C. Okay. Which of the following is the concept of elastic load balancer? Distribute traffic to multiple EC2 instances. To scale up EC2 instance, distribute traffic to AWS resources across multiple regions to increase the size of the EC2 instance based on demand. Okay. Rosemond, what point? Sorry.
Ayo, I just go home. I just entered the house.
Okay, great. I hope so. Obompire, my say the bay. You could share
All of
share
so that you all part.
you could share alien services. You see, the parcel is with the services that will the questions. Yeah, we've seen that the question on the services is the determinant of you passing or not passing.
Telling you.
The previous question. And now what you see A. So I selected A. Load balancer. Oh, you know the bar, eh? Okay, let me write it there so that I will explain. And this the main benefit of decoupling an application is to okay, you have choose C, no problem. We'll go explain now. Decoupling creates a tightly integrated application, reduce interdependencies, and we enemy can Remember HAPPY. Shame. So I give up today. There is a requirement to host a database server for a minimum period of 1 year. Which of the following will result in the least cost? Spot instance, on demand, no upfront cost, partial upfront cost. Fast. Get fala. Hey, why not you see B? Okay, so I'll see B. Okay, so I'll write B down.
Now, database or instance.
And database, there is an instance. RDS is an instance.
Okay.
Yeah. Right, so D. So I feel like because looking at the rate at which we answer the questions on the concept and all that, I think we are good. The problem is the services. The services. Yeah, same. When I thought economics and billing was the problem, even though it's still a problem, but it looks like the services is a bigger problem. Please agree or disagree.
Strongly agree.
Charlie, technology, yes, technology and services. It's like it's a bigger problem. Which of the following services can be used as a web application firewall in AWS? The question we want answer that. That will be 34%, Charlie. Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud Spot instances will be most appropriate for which of the following scenarios? Anytime I see Spot instance, I don't know, but if you press with the camera head inside.
Why?
In the kinds of questions, some questions be like that. And then we had to also like pause and then yes.
That didn't happen to me.
Aha. So question be like that. So we paused
You
and
my
then
name they come your head inside.
Yeah.
Hey, sports instances.
if you explain that they choose different answer, I don't kind to they choose different answer or something. So you had to explain and then we went with the other one. I'm seeing B. And be flexible. Okay. Which AWS service gives the user the ability to group AWS resources across different AWS regions by application and then collectively view their operational data for monitoring purposes? Twin breaks and me who say atwa dwendwen. CCAA. Who's one, Charlie?
Which one, Charlie says?
Fusion I ever saw.
Yeah, bro. Okay, me who D so and I've seen C. Okay, C A. Jason, behave.
Yes, go and sleep.
D. Wow.
Wow, AWS RAM. How can you name a service?
A service like that. RAM.
They be Americans like RAM. If you don't RAM, that was Tuesday.
What?
Why is it, Charlie? You saw with you.
But the rep resource access manager, when they finish, they put AWS RAM for bucket inside. That was telling you, they know what they do.
They won't confuse you and Gaza.
Yeah. It's trashy. So there's nothing. I'm not sure if it's something with you like that. You already get RAM.
It did.
Resource access manager day.
Hey, we be legit.
Sure.
Be legit.
Some of the things that the people be made up of, so they will just take distract you more.
Sure.
Someday
we made up. Someday.
You put it clear. They say AWS RAM helps you securely share your resources across AWS accounts in your organizational units. And with AWS and with IAM roles and users, they load them. So AWS RAM helps you securely share your resources across AWS accounts within your organizational unit.
You didn't say be legit.
And users for supported resource types. So then they take share resources in a multi-account environment.
Okay, exam or practice.
Okay, you know that people that
so you go to do
Okay, they carry Shingar, they go exam.
They go exams.
Yeah, you know that people that get Shingar, Judy then sit at them. They get the system.
They get sugar there.
No worry. You know the people they log in plus 2 accounts. One day front top, one day machine top. So what did they figure?
The question that make us escape. You see, they don't show the question number for here. So let's probably okay. So 39, question 39. Let me write. Share. Maybe a question number. Share. I am white. You guys don't even see it. This why they be poor. It be poor UI and UX design.
You buy domain name, you buy host, you build websites, you put it for them. Go use free, they complain.
So which one I will go for? Okay, let me see. C. D.
This size now I trust them. It's gonna give you 100%.
D. Because I think the D be plenty.
The
answer be D. Is who type emoji feminine? Say fast. Okay. Who could choose the A? I know they think so though. Because from even what you can read, it say a share, right? But this one is what?
EBC. The answer.
Because let me see. This one is
C.
You can choose C.
Try
Majority, please. We are sorry. Today they will not go with majority vote. I mean, this one they will not go with majority vote. A department in an organization has a stipulated monthly expenditure limit on their AWS account and is anxious about exceeding it. How best can they allay this concern? So regularly review their billing and cost management dashboard during the course of the month in the management console. Under billing preferences, cost management preferences, they should tick the receive free tier usage alert box. C. In AWS CloudWatch, they ought to create an alarm that triggers each time the service bill passes the limit. In AWS budget, create an email alert based on the budget parameters. Okay, creating an email alert based on the budget parameters. Masak,
Nice. In AWS budget, creating an email alert based on the budget parameters would suffice.
Would suffice. Would suffice. Main kind man in day. D. I know say you people you choose it as a corporate. They talk say budget is about billing and cost. Mutia, minim hoshi.
No, they say this one. They say anxious about exceeding it.
Where be expenditure?
Me match maka. I may say I don't plenty people choose because of the explanation that came earlier. But
they do disclaimer. They give disclaimer.
Mutia, minim hoshi.
Okay. I said about him.
In a multi-node deployment architecture of Amazon Redshift. In a multi-node deployment architecture of Amazon Redshift data warehouse, what is the role of a leader node? I didn't reply them. Maybe some question because okay, to access compressed data from the underlying columns, to receive queries and manage clients' connections, primarily acts as an in-memory buffer area to improve operational efficiency, store data and perform computations and inquiries. If people they laugh, Allah, you need there. I don't know why, but any answer you need to choose, and if you say it be the correct answer, no.
They should get a
We trouble.
You did choose B, no, everybody they choose B.
Everybody they choose B. As I talk, say Judith in answer we are the trust. So hey, Munya sao.
B seems good for a leader. Hey,
Munya sa. Yeah, we.
Choose B in the uncle.
Yeah,
for receive things first.
For receive things first. This Lotto strategy, yeah. A radio station compiles a list of most popular songs each year and will seldom refer to the information thereafter. Listeners can get access to this information up to 24 hours after request, which is the most cost-effective object storage for this information. This one also be Anja. So all I do is
Deep archive.
Answers in Basana. So you people, you know, bed, but you keep it like that. A building access security system is generating accurate logs because users often share access tags while entering the building. How can this be solved effectively? Okay, examination more practice.
And they can't mute themselves.
But you happy the dog say me, I will choose this, me, I'll choose that. That might be what? Maybe this practice.
I think you mispractice. Aha, tell her. Me, I'll be the leader node.
Yeah, if I receive things first.
The guy is managing. This
I be class P, I be school police.
This I go stick to my head inside. Leader node for receipt. School police, so they do what? School police, so they be say you for flash the rules. Okay, recognition. We are good. Is it? Who make them police? Sure. Go Google. They have a department. You give your own position. There's a department in Google. When they employ you, you look at what you do and then you give yourself a position, a title.
AWS they give names to the service anyhow. Why is me? I don't go call.
Yeah, you don't go if you call yourself police. Okay, hey, I see the answers flying in already. A developer would like to automate the installation, updating of a set of applications on a series of EC2 instances and an on-premises service. Which is the most appropriate service to use to achieve this requirement? Okay, CTDD flying in. Which of the following is an accurate statement regarding AWS resource tags? All resource tags can have semantic interpretation. Within a resource tag, every defined key must have a value string. By default, resource tags are assigned as null. Resource tags can be edited or removed at any time. And then placement group does not support resource tags. It does not support tags. Okay. DB. That's D in a Dawson. D menu. Yeah, I was reading from the previous. So D and then B. I can relate. Means meaning.
I bet the resource tax is it different from the tax?
Is it different from?
It be with the tagging.
Yeah, that be it being with the tag, Muncha bindi. Just as you go do trebidi. Okay, say A. But so far we are having D plenty. Especially you go take all that time to put them when for D there. Which tool can you use to forecast your we ankenisa minkasa puna answer neighbor. Which tool can you use to forecast your AWS spending? We move who answer no kana ma can answer no mitrin. As a course explorer questions those who like the whole dams that with yourself and
Because it come more times. I mean, they won't make you chop them money. They want to chop your money. Say then so much show.
Yeah. Which AWS services can be used to store files? Choose two. ABC. No time to waste. An administrator would like to automate the creation of new accounts for the research and development department of the organization where new workloads need to be spun up promptly and categorized into groups. How can this be achieved efficiently? Before Christ. So Obintias Jana. Next, okay. So fine. All right. What best describes the principle of least privilege? Choose the correct answer from the options given below. All users should have the same baseline permission granted to them to use basic AWS services. Users should be granted permission to access only resources they need to do their assigned job.
You did too rush.
You did say nyambutre my
Asim si anyabutre.
asema nyambutre. Did nyambutre my would you communicate too much? We now move for BBB. Mujudi tafa A na move for B. May Judith name benchmark. Which AWS service automates infrastructure provisioning and administrative tasks for an analytical data warehouse? You see warehouse now, that's what you choose.
And Kasa.
So far, where a redshift.
Who's it?
Is there one so far redshift to?
You never heard design. A professional educational institution maintains a dedicated web server and database cluster that hosts an exam result portal for modules undertaken by its students. The resource is idle for most of the learning cycle and becomes excessively busy when exam results are released. How can this architecture be improved to be cost efficient? A. Configure AWS elastic load balancing between the web server and the database cluster. B. Configure RDS multi-availability zone for performance optimization. C. Configure serverless architecture leveraging AWS Lambda functions. D. Migrate the web service onto Amazon EC2 Spot instances.
Abeka.
Obi D. Obi C. question yet. Question there 51. Hey. 1 hour 30 minutes. One more than 30 minutes solve 50 questions. Hey, go where are they?
It be like there be 2 hours. So.
Yeah, it be 2 hours. It be 2 hours. No, it be 100 and
It be 100 minutes. So it be 100 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So 1 hour 40 minutes.
Yeah. It's see now be overtake you. Judith for once, Abra. Judith choose A. Yehoah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Wait a minute. Okay, now. Okay, we started from C. Okay, C. Okay, we did my first C. This one I don't know. But ever some more convince me. Me so me for we.
D.
It be D with D. I think so. Because let me see B. What's the availability? So they are looking at access, and then when it becomes busy, I think it's D though. But don't deny the majority. Don't deny the majority their choice. So let's move. Cost efficient. Go be power to the people, exactly. Power to the people. A cloud solution architect, a cloud solution architect needs to execute urgent mission critical tasks on the AWS management console, but has left their Windows-based machine at home. Munche case study way they have left their Windows machine at home. What secure option can be used to administer these tasks on the cloud infrastructure, given that only non-graphical user interface, non-GUI, Linux-based machines are readily available? I feel quite a digest question. Hey, share the AWS Manager console credentials with Godman. We endorse the end digesting. Share the AWS Manager console credentials with the person at home over the phone so that they can execute the cloud solutions architects. They can execute on the cloud solutions architect's behalf. B. Use third-party remote desktop software to access the Windows-based machine at home from the non-GUI workstations and administer the necessary tasks. C. Use Secure Shell to securely connect to the Windows-based machine from one of the non-GUI Linux-based machines, then log onto AWS Management Console. D. Install and run AWS CLI on one of the non-GUI Linux-based machines in a shell environment such as Bash. The cloud solutions architect can access all services as they could from a Windows-based machine. Mefa last one. So this is the question. Let's go to the question again. A cloud solutions architect needs to execute urgent mission critical tasks on the Windows management console, but has left their Windows-based machine at home. What secure option can be used to administer these tasks on the cloud infrastructure, given that only non-graphical user interface Linux-based machines are readily available?
Now let's see. Maybe critical. Critical, no be how to go install and run CLI.
ABC.
Okay. Still me, I go stick to my last one. I go choose D. But I choose C. Power to the people. I have few people who agree with me. Josephine agrees with me. Godman agrees with me. Which two statements best describe the AWS personal health dashboard? Which two statements best describe the AWS personal health dashboard? So we are choosing two.
I don't know.
Mute the person fast.
iPhone.
A constant representation of the general status of AWS services. I do agree. B, user-specific view on the availability and performance of AWS services underlying their AWS resources. C, a service that prompts the user with alerts and notifications on scheduled activities, pending issues, and planned changes. D, a minute-by-minute update of system outages and service errors on AWS global infrastructure. A rolling log of all service interruptions across the AWS network, records of incidences persistent for a year. So I see BC, BC, DE, BC, 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 BC. Okay. So BC. Majority. Which of the following statements about scalability is most accurate? Choose two from the options given below. A scalable system diverts traffic based on demand. Scalable system diverts traffic to instances with the least load. A scalable system diverts traffic across multiple regions. A scalable system diverts traffic to instances with higher capacity.
Where
scalable, the Ankamonka so increase or decrease. Yeah, they mostly divert. Okay. Only one standing. You did for governor, what? Yeah, he will stop that. Okay, right this CD. Baby. Young quay will be almost a bio. Me who AD. A startup. A startup would like to instantaneously deploy a complex web and mobile application deployment environment, complete the necessary resources and peripheral assets. How can this be achieved efficiently? A, by putting together the necessary components from AWS services, starting with EC2 instance. B, creating AWS Lambda functions that will be triggered by a single button click to call the appropriate API of the respective resources and peripheral assets needed. C, using AWS Quickstarts to identify and provision the appropriate AWS CloudFormation template. Okay, C, never. Let's see, me can. Hey, they go and come go click it finish. Thank you. During an organization's information systems audit, the administrator is requested to provide a dossier of security and compliance reports as well as online service agreement that exist between the organization and AWS. Which service can they utilize to acquire this information? C'est bon. Services name, yeah, bad sao.
Anymore.
Bad sa no mo dia yini ba. Amazon alien ne.
Amazon Sita.
Athena Zeus.
Hey, Amazon Zeus. What can be termed as a user-defined label that has a key value pair? a key value pair of variable character length. It is assigned to AWS resource. You, my idea. Which use case would warrant the cost-effective implementation of Amazon EC2 reserved instance with spot instance in the same build? So now we are to choose the use cases. They've given us the architecture. We have to choose the use cases. Now, a build that has certain unpredictable workload spikes, but for a short time horizon. B. Why today a build like that? B. One in which there is a predictable resource demand over a long time horizon. C. One that has predictable workload over a long time with prolonged and unpredictable spikes. D. One that has constantly predictable workload with brief unpredictable spikes. D. How the thing they go there be like you are crash squad. You go be the best at you. The best graduating squad for AWS. Musing there too much. A group of developers for a startup company store their source code and binary files on a shared open source repository platform, which is publicly accessible over the internet. They have embarked on a new project in which their client requires high confidentiality and security on all development assets. What AWS service can the developers use to meet this requirement? A. Code commit. B. Code deploy. Assembly bini. C. Lambda. D. Code star. Okay. A. Code commit then.
Like I can't ask.
Code commit then.
Oh, actually, Judith explain. Stores source code.
Code. Okay.
So versioning control.
Okay.
What?
Or version control.
Yeah, versioning control. So like it helps you like in case you lose your code or something, it helps you like retrieve it. You understand? So it's like GitHub. If you know what GitHub does, like that.
Yes.
Okay, so it's like a repository for source code.
Yeah.
What about code deploy?
Code deploy.
Code deploy is just deploying, building and deploying.
That's all.
Yeah, that's all.
And code star.
Code star.
Code star. I forget. Did the Indian Mind video.
Forget. Let's go.
You get that wrong.
So can you say code star is like cloud formation, where you have template and then all those things, or gives you like all the technologies that you need to build and deploy your stuff? Somebody Google it. Coaster is quickly developed, built, and deployed. Exactly. This is American. Menya bad sa. Sa menya bad sa. When I find it teacher be. Or say what I say, I've been rough. When designing a highly available architecture, what is the difference between vertical scaling, that's scaling up, and horizontal scaling out?
Yeah, break.
Abba. At the end, we try run away, but still, what would it that is? Scaling up provides for high availability, while scaling out brings fault tolerance. Okay, let's see. Scaling up adds more resources to an instance. Scaling out adds more instances. As simple as that. In America, so these are the whole thing. This is the whole use cases. So this is what they do.
So this question and that picture you post, you say different.
You I mean, who do you mean? Me, you see, actually, I've closed my mind because look at how we understood the thing the other time, and there's a confusion about. So me, I close my mind for that. Me who question me who they are. One of sorry, one of a blogger's articles has gone viral, which has resulted in a lot of traffic to their blog. The excessive amount of traffic has in turn caused poor browsing experience for some readers. How can normal service to the blog be restored? A. Set up web application firewall that will allow legitimate traffic and deny maliciously generated traffic. B. Set up read replicas on the back-end RDS instance where the article resides. C. Upgrade the back-end RDS instance to a non-relational database. D. Configure multi-AZ to enhance the performance of the back-end. You say A. Maybe. Okay. Okay, so B. All right. Which of the following is a benefit of running an application across two availability zones? Performance is improved by running in a single availability zone. It's more secure than running in a single availability zone. Significantly reduce the total cost of ownership. False. See. Is it sometimes it looks like the question? Sometimes the question is difficult, but the choice of answers makes it easier.
The understanding.
On a social media website, this question I meet down for somewhere, but first one meeting, on a social media website. Creative content goes viral for a few days and then rapidly declines in popularity and views thereafter. Which storage class and configuration option would you choose for a cost-effective storage? So standard with object versioning, S3 intelligent steering, and elastic file store, and then S3 with lifecycle policies. So I see BB, I see DB, I see D. This one I will explain before we move on. And we'll choose the right one. Okay, so no answer is coming again. Rosemont for one answer, bra. Benda. Bridget, bring your answer, don't sleep. Sometimes they might be sleep. No more mudiana or sorry. I'm not seeing AK, I'm not seeing Angie. I'm not seeing Josephine. I'm not seeing Bridget. I'm not seeing AK is here. Okay. I think Okay answered the previous one.
This one there busy. You make a type.
Okay, Mr. Yusuf D. Can easy, you can't write B. Matter. Okay, just do this also. Massa. Okay, if I make steady, why?
Why was it? I mean, the what's the answer? I give the answer.
You don't confuse me. I thought it be easy, can write B. All right, so here, they're looking at a storage class and configuration. So the reason why I could be T and Mr. Mikofa intelligent steering, right? But immediately I read the question again. It was like a storage class. So intelligent steering itself is a storage class. So the question is actually looking for a storage class and what's it called? Configuration. So it's between object versioning and then lifecycle policies. But here the content goes viral for a few days, declines in popularity, and then views thereafter. So it means that the access also decreases. So in as much as the access decreases, you might think for intelligent steering, but the answer is actually D. I think D even is the majority, but the answer is D.
Come on. How do they make it in return D? Because lifestyle policies, that means you for predict.
Yes.
You
So
go
life
right.
cycle. So since it says it goes viral for a few days and then rapidly declines. So you give it that, okay, if this thing is accessed this period, intelligent steering, it works its own configurations. You don't do anything.
Yeah.
So this one, you now have to configure that, okay, make the content available for like a week or two. And then after that period, just take it off stream and then so that another one will come up.
Hello.
That's how blogging actually works.
Hello.
Yep.
Yeah.
The thing is saying that social media, a trend, you cannot predict when a trend will end. Let's say
No, but they are saying that on a social media website, right? They are actually giving the case that creative content goes viral for a few days and then rapidly declines in popularity. So we are actually not looking at if anything, the general understanding of
social media's general understanding. This one then give you
they have given the use case. They have given the use case scenario as to how it goes. They have specified the timeline for you. So you now have to choose what to do with it.
What's the timeline? They didn't specify it. They said it goes down in few weeks.
Yes, it goes viral for a
So
few days.
the few weeks is the timeline.
No, few days.
Few days.
Exactly.
So what is few days can be relative.
You know what? Let's go next. The answers come and we will see them.
We'll go see them. All right, sure. You plan to make a write this one down.
The number be what?
As with the numbers, we just skip. You start from the middle. The other time I check the idea. Now see where you can be. See where the number can be. So that will be question 63. I'm really interested in this. Because let's wait after submission. Yeah, so this is the last this is the last but one question. You can deploy an application on AWS. The application needs to be PCI compliant. Which of the following below steps are needed to ensure compliance? Choose 3 answers. So this one, we just have to eliminate one and then choose the rest of the 3. And this one, by elimination, okay, one shame elimination. And I mean, just eliminate one and then choose the rest. Judy says eliminate D. Okay, which one should we eliminate? Judy says eliminate D. Okay, say eliminate A. Josephine has chosen ABD. ABD. ABC. A. Eliminate A. Okay. ABC. ABC. This one part that will come in. BCD. No, this one I don't go allow me. Eliminate A.
And the application.
The application needs to be compliant. So which of the below are steps needed to ensure compliance?
And the application needs to be PCI compliant. Where the services we become choose to be PCI compliant. If for ensures PCI compliant. But you can't say you're going to choose services that are only services that are PCI compliant. How your application go work if you need something that is not in that set? Like
AWS, Why don't go do services with PCI compliance?
Exactly. So the C said they counter the A.
So we share but say ensure the AWS services are made PCI compliant.
If it is possible, then it is counted.
So you go do everything finish before you now we can check if it be PCI compliance.
Okay, A out. Obviously A out. Obviously eliminates D. So D explains that do an audit after the deployment of the application for PCI compliance. So A explains that the A out. Eliminate A. So ABD. You people vote again. ABD. So
They did
ABD.
So what if you do the audit with some
They
things
are not.
PCI compliant? Then what you could do your work or
Exactly. So they did the
No, let's say ensure. Ensure. So if you do audits, if you do quality assurance. Quality assurance.
Yeah, the DB say you go do audits to make the application piece. So what is needed for the application to be PCI compliant? That be the essence of the audit. Like what you for do make the application be PCI compliant.
So the process is like the process is that first of all, you need to choose a service that is PCI compliant.
Right.
So after you have chosen that service, you ensure that the right steps are taken during the application development to make sure that
they are PCI compliant.
They are PCI compliant. Then after the development, you have to do
an audit.
Audit to make sure that the steps are followed, everything is in place.
Because I also feel like ensuring the services are made PCI compliant isn't your responsibility.
If a service is not PCI compliant, you cannot make it a PCI compliant. It's not a responsibility to make a service PCI compliant.
I also you have to ensure, you have to put in place steps to make sure that this service I'm going to use is PCI compliant. It's the same as the A. That's why I talk to they counter the A.
No, our made PCI compliance is different from our PCI compliant too. We are brofo.
Are you the one to ensure that AWS services are made compliant?
Can't you? Is it not possible?
How you go tell them or what?
The question be say, is it not possible? Is it possible or
not? You say, hey, no,
man.
It's not your responsibility.
If it's not possible, then it's AB.
Responsibility. So definitely they are
we they charge for the Zoom, then they charge for the WhatsApp page.
There are some services which are PCI compliant.
We don't go choose C.
There's ABD.
So ABD, make you choose ABD.
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 In Amazon S3, what's the difference between life cycle policies and intelligence steering? A life cycle policies that are not dependent on access patterns. Intelligence is an object storage class which is not dependent on access and also meant to us. What is the difference between life cycle policies and intelligence steering? When transition objects into different storage class, intelligent steering is automatic, whilst life cycle policies have to be manually triggered. Life cycle policies cannot be configured permanently. They cannot be configured to permanently delete set objects from an S3 bucket, whilst intelligent steering can do if versioning. No. CAAA. Life cycle are not dependent on access patterns, as is the case with instead they are pre-configured with transition rule. Okay. That's CAAA, and then C says what? When transition object into different storage classes, intelligent tiering is automatic, whilst life cycle policies have to be manually triggered. So AA, 3 A's, 4 C's. not dependent on access patterns, as is the case of campus bad.
The English, oh, the English. If you know about the English, there, forget.
Okay. So this one, the final answer, okay, I will go with C. Because will be a C be the plenty one. Okay. C result. Drum roll.
94.
This one be under hot.
89.23. 89.23. And also free. They just said the ones where we select two or the team be normally account. Means that this one and then the other. Okay.
Yes, son of my yano. We under session bank concepts are now.
That be we a practice exam, like 65 questions.
Okay.
Make we see the ones. Make we see the ones where we get wrong.
Okay, and share the
question numbers we go on.
some of them are not right too. But I think from here the HRBB can be perfect.
Who could do the ones to get wrong first?
Okay, Moku see the one get wrong. Yeah, we'll go.
I will switch soon. I forgot teach. So
Oh, okay. Japan they have at the action.
Yeah. I go for teach from 12 to 1, then I finish. I sure say by the time I go from them people.
They go to in English.
No, today I will teach them programming.
So go teach for English inside or Naruto.
Yeah, I will teach for English inside.
Japanese.
I will teach for English inside. Then the more English.
Question. We had different answers. People were choosing data streams and your data streams. They are just talking about you connecting, right? But himself stream, swayed people. No. Today we say we solve like
it requires connectivity with no jitter and very low latency. It's on-premise infrastructure.
It's on-premise infrastructure, and it's cloud built to support live streaming and real-time services. Yeah, direct connect. Yes, this will be almost 12. I mean, today we solve 65 questions. And we are on Komobi and you better.
Okay.
No,
I be one come when you are.
They can't watch Ghana match.
Ghana match. Where in the show for?
Okay, if you say you can.
Angel TV say they go show.
Oh, okay.
So the question we get wrong on this.
Check the select. Select way. So A, D, and E.
Oh, you what?
So use SSL acceleration. Yeah, the RDS one. So you use SSL acceleration.
SSL, you got the slow down websites. It's called for encrypt and decrypt. But the CDN, they're not, I'm not be very concerned. So now I'm only thinking.
Okay. So that be D.
The cloud HSM, I mean, say it be node, it be physical device.
Yeah.
Yeah, the hardware.
Okay.
So it be D and E. So during transactions between browsers and web browser, there's a heightened demand for computational capacity. Thus, offloading the process to AWS Cloud HSM cluster would greatly improve the performance of the web server. This is referred to as so actually this process now is also referred to as SSL acceleration. I think the same way. so it's so it be this one in this. So the SSL acceleration is actually doing this thing. Yeah, same. And those way you travel, so I think they added those ones. But AWS doesn't do it like that. We are quite a bit. Yeah, okay, okay, we was cheap.
Other questions.
Hey. We didn't answer this question, saying.
Hey.
Yeah. Hey. I just
No. No. We answered this question. We answered the question.
They try to click on
One click.
Maybe I click but I no click.
Yo.
But select which use at the implementation of RDS database instance over.
Where you click?
We FRD.
I go get 90.
Like if you get 90. FRD. It will be this question where you be say what's it called? RDS be instance, no?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then maybe I click, you know, click. Oh, okay. You try 90. You try 90. And how we so a new department software. No? I think yes. So this is it. So list privilege. I think somebody chose. I gave what on the access need that just should allow you that to access the most common. Somebody chose A, so it wasn't A. Right answer is one. This one list privilege. And yeah, cloud trailers. I think we didn't have a problem here. Quick site. So I think we didn't have a problem here. Everybody chose quick site. So that is it. And S-ray transfer acceleration. So other maybe to see file transfer. Right? It is not file transfer. You have to accelerate the transfer over a long distance. So yes, transfer acceleration. And yes, we use frequent access. And somebody said he would have chosen C. I think it was this one, eh? Say fast. Or on there, or maybe we can. Okay, not this one. Okay, then let's move on. Please, if he gets there, then just prompt me. Yeah, this one too was okay. Yes, and then total cost of ownership, users, passwords, and all those things are not part. And now, yes, we SSL TLS. Yesterday, I can say, who's the way their certificate, a certificate manager. And I will see yes, ops work. That was true. Explain it. And which of the following? So I think there wasn't any issue. In resource groups, cost optimization. Yeah, we see okay. Anyway. So the same scenario up there no, is the same as this one, right? So there is a spike in processor and memory activity on the organization's web service that hosts a large web application. So this was after installing a secure socket layer transport layer for security. So this increased activity degraded the web application responsiveness. So to improve that, you offload it from running locally to a cloud HSM. So this is the same use case scenario. So the answer is this one, not C. There's another one on this same thing. And answer. Yes, we used to trust that we didn't have a problem. And file sharing. I explained that before we moved on. Right, meaning the petabyte would have switched us away, but the file sharing should be there. and trusted advisor. Then that is it. So your performance, your cost optimization, security, fault tolerance, and then your your service limit. Elastic load balancer, yes, distribute traffic. See, first, I think it's this one, the concept of elastic load balancer. Yes. So a load balance, yes. So right. So a load balancer.
Yes, sorry. So
yes, that's fine. So a load balancer, what's it called? Distributes traffic to multiple EC2 instance. In another case, they distribute traffic to multiple EC2 instance across availability zones, but not region. You get it? Region, they means you are going out. Let's say you have one server in Virginia, you have another one in Ohio, right? These are two. These are two regions, right? So using a load balancer will be difficult. I don't think it will work. So sometimes you might see across multiple instances in multiple availability zones. That one you can select it, or to multiple instances, but regions there. And this one it says what across resources to AWS resources across multiple regions. And decoupling and the partial front, yes, that's the cost saving one. Maybe can be used as web application firewall. Yes, it was already even answered in the question. Yes, and export instances. Yes, workloads where availability of the EC2 instances can be flexible. It means that it can withstand down times and all that. So yes, you try. And away, they are not resource groups. It's actually systems manager. Right? So a systems manager allows users.
My question answer.
Right. So which AWS service gives the user the ability to group resources? Right. So they say, so the question is the ability for you to group resources. It did not say a combination of resources or something.
I get you.
So across different AWS regions by application, and then collectively view their operational data for monitoring purposes. So that's a systems manager. And I think with resource access manager, we can even give us a definition, right? It talks about sharing resources and then controlling access. And then the management console is the graphic user interface. They talk something. Right. The management console is the graphic user interface. To access your AWS resources. So systems manager stands out. This resource manager allows users to share resources with other accounts via organizations. Can be used to collate and so resource groups are a collection of resources, as I said, within a single AWS region. And okay, so mwetwa nti me kan nti mutin di anka me nka ho mwetwa de minim ho bi. So what is about expenditure, expenditure, cost, billings, and then we are looking at budget. For me, honestly, maybe I may be as I'll take budget. Because unless Mishanas are to the end, I'll fall on the dumps and then choose CloudWatch. But if it is billing, and a multi-node, yeah, so I think the analogy we use worked. the leader receive the things first, right? And then manage client connection. So that's okay. So there are two conventional architectures in which to deploy the Amazon Redshift data warehouse as a single node which handles both clients or BD. And I don't know, as a single node which handles both client session and computations. The second as a multi-node deployment. The latter consists of a leader node which receives queries and manages clients' connections to the database warehouse. Whilst one
this one you're not sure.
Is there?
This one not be sure.
Now we be sure.
Now we sure.
Where is he? Where you read them before we be sure? No?
Oh, I read them chair like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Have you the database there? You spend time on you spend time. Hey, today somebody say make I help her make you complete your knowledge checks. If what you go there on the concept. Charlie, the database, the way I bomb. I tell him say, hey, if you finish, I restart up. the difference between Aurora and what? Aurora is something. All the 3 questions they on now. Between
Charlie.
I forget.
But I don't be only.
If I see the question, they are come.
Me too. This one, it be database way it mess me up.
So okay. Okay, radio station there no. Yes, so it's for deep archive. When you are retrieving your data, it takes up to like 24 hours before you are able to do a complete retrieval. So yes, that's deep archive for this one. But see in do way, so yes, recognition. Because the access cards, they are using different people, they share access cards. So if you utilize recognition, it will solve the issue, right? It will be able to match the images in the whatever it is, and then kind of way. Enables uptake of imagery and video for analysis in applications. By uploading imagery or video footage to the recognition API, the service engine will then identify and distinguish facial features, text, objects, and activities. This service will meet the requirement of the scenario as an access control solution. Bon. Hey. Automate the installation. Yehovah. A developer would like to automate the installation, updating of a set of applications on a series of EC2 instances and on-prem. The code deploy, which is the most appropriate service to use to achieve this requirement. Code deploy is a is there?
Quite more light.
Oh, AWS Code Deploy is a deployment service that allows developers to automate the installation of applications to hosts, updating a set of applications on a series of EC2 instances. Okay. On to host.
No one say CloudFormation for templates is the damn thing.
No, so CloudFormation is like a template to architect your infrastructure, right? Yeah. But not to install applications.
On this is why I say automate the installation and updating of set of applications
on a series of EC2 instances. And then the difference is service that allows developers to automate the installation of applications to hosts.
Yeah,
Amazon EC2 So if if we come to our usual like PC environment, we say we your Windows in for right? We your OS in for you install certain applications. Until say code deploy will allow you, like will enable you to automate that installation. Maybe you'll install Word, we install media player, we install then maybe all the software that you need. So you use code deploy to automate that. But setting up your
CloudFormation.
I'm going cloud formation. So cloud formation will not be able to run deployment of applications onto on-premises infrastructure. Furthermore, cloud formation automates the deployment of AWS resources, but not application and code onto host.
Hey, Charlie.
Areas. Okay, wait, so resource tags can be edited or removed at any time. Okay, actually, the Alumujata. Which of the following statement is accurate? I was here selected two, but I didn't say we should select two anyway.
It'd be 5 options.
Correct answer DE. No, but I didn't say which of the following is an accurate statement. So it's like even a singular statement.
One last side.
Any. What is the answer? The user defined key value pair with variable character. This one, the explanation is okay, course explorer 2 actually being storing files and so actually being okay. So to automate the creation of new AWS account is organizations. There is a tool under organizations that enable you to like do that automation.
Automation of creating new accounts.
Yes, for research. There is actually a tool under organizations that does that.
Maybe what?
That's
And the control tower.
That's
Yeah. Okay, right. Moro. All right, sure. That's control tower. I'm sure somebody be hamper. Yes, least privileged. User should be granted permissions to access
only resources they need to do their
assigned job.
But not then say if you want or user should have the same baseline permissions granted to them. I think somebody choose E.
Yeah, somebody choose A, yes. Baseline permissions granted to them to use basic AWS.
Judith, when Judith choose where was it? I don't know, we are choosing B now, Judith choose A and
A, no, yeah. And I was not missing warehouse now, just shift. And okay. Actually, this one was what? The resources idle for most of the learning cycles. So how can this architecture be improved to be cost efficient? Yeah, so configure serverless architecture, leveraging the AWS Lambda function. So anytime we are like when the exam results are released, then you trigger the Lambda function so that area and assign kwada. So you only pay for the compute time, the time that the code took to run. Now, asa.
Prince, we solve for D.
Is it?
You choose D for this one, Abi.
Yeah, I choose D.
So leveraging Lambda functions will remove the need to run a dedicated web server for the organization during periods of high requests to the database cluster. But myself, now they agree with the D. Backend infrastructure will automatically scale out resources to adequately meet demand. So does it mean that the resources idle for becomes excessively busy? Okay. Okay, so here they are not looking at the system
So
actually
you go write code make it just provision
resources when
extra resources for the web server.
Yes, so when the load increases. Okay, I see. Pays for the computer time they consume. Oh, nice. We didn't make us I stick with the D, where the guy left in the fence, he left a Windows-based machine at home, but he has access to a Linux-based and then an graphical user interface machine. So using SSH now, you now use the SSH. You have there's SSH, but you now use the SSH to now securely connect to your Windows-based machine from one of the Linux graphic user interface. So from one of the Linux-based machines, and then you now log on to the management console from there. This is it secure enough?
That's too clumsy.
Right. I've been over connected to Windows machine with you.
Install the command line interface and then because like I was saying in the chat, what are the ways of accessing the AWS?
Either you are using the console, the CLI, and then the SDK.
So you just
if you have a Linux machine, just install the CLI on top, and then use the shell environment to access your resources. You can uninstall it, or when you log out, the person cannot log in again. Which two statements describe personal health dashboard? Okay, we should na BC no do super. We AWS health dashboard. This one talks about what the general status of AWS services. Okay, we see choose two. Diverse traffic based on demand, and to the least the instances with the least load. So I don't understand this. Is it not a load balancer that does this thing?
Nah. Load balancer.
Right. I mean, but it's always the underutilized system that has to like take the load. So it's not the one with the higher capacity. So yeah. Okay, we try a quick start to identify. Okay, so continuously deploy complex web and mobile application. Okay, mobile application development environment. Okay, we are looking at maybe an EC2 instance or something with the complete necessary resources and peripheral asset. How can this be achieved efficiently? So yes, use quick start to identify and provision appropriate AWS cloud formation template. It makes sense. We also the nature the artifact. Yes, it's a resource tag. E-value pair, and then also sign nature the and away so the use case of when implementing a reserved instance with a spot instance. So the spot instance, so the reserved instance for a workload that has constantly predictable workload, and then the spot instance for the ones with brief. So brief, it means that it happens. Okay, so load balancer works with a green code. Hey, I see you, Cheru. You write your exam. Yes, and then the spot instance for one with brief. Brief means that it happens and then goes off in a short period. We see a code commit. I think we looked at that. We had explanations. Okay, you joined with your phone earlier. All right, that's fine. So we had definition. So I think we are good on this one. Okay, so scaling up add more resources to an instance. Scaling out adds more instances, and also actually set up read replicas on the back end RDS instance where the article resides, so that fast, ten. Okay, that you are safe as okay. Yes, and running across two availability zones, it increases the availability of an application. And so actually and the life cycles policies, so I explained it the Yankan kind way. So transition actions define when objects transition to another storage class. For example, you might choose to transition object to standard IA class 30 days after you created them, or archive objects to Glacier storage class 1 year after creating them. This is the social media thing. This is a social media thing, right? So they are looking at a storage class and configuration option. As I said, intelligent steering is a storage class. Right? So they are looking at a configuration option. So are you using a standard with object version? And when an object goes viral, the access is what? It's frequent. So you need a storage class that gives a frequent access, and that is a standard. Now, if you use intelligent steering alone, intelligent steering works with what? 30 days, and then it will move it to infrequent access. And I think, is it 12 months? And before it moves it to Glacier, right? I've forgotten the period between from standard to from infrequent access to Glacier, right? So that wouldn't be cost effective. It's also 30 days, so it's 30 days interval, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Now that wouldn't be cost effective. So in the context, it is a few days. So let's say normally in Ghana, a chai 1 week, right? A chai 1 week, except it's like an issue of national interest. Even this occupied Jilobi demo, Jilobi house demo, it didn't go for more than 3 weeks. And now people are not even talking about it again. The kid that went viral, the kid that had his one hand up, that went viral. It was just that few days that the demo happened that he was trending and a coy. So using an intelligent steering alone wouldn't be the most cost effective. So you can configure that, okay, maybe put it in the standard tier, right? Put it in the standard for maybe 3 weeks, 15 days maximum. After 15 days, move it straight to Glacier or infrequent access. So as we were saying, the question gave pointers, but we are not looking at the general understanding. I think this thing we have addressed it, that sometimes when we have a background in certain things, we get to think too much. And it has happened. Yes, it has happened to all of us. We now relate it to a lot of things. It happens to, the best of the people. Simple question, simple answer, but the experience by enough idiot. And tearing. So intelligent tearing will transition the file between two storage. And it will even, for intelligent steering, it will transition between two storage classes only. So from frequent to infrequent. So it means that the frequent is the standard one, right? So from the standard, it will go to infrequent access, which will still cost you more, right? So when the media file is not popular, even infrequent access will not be cost effective. So when it's no more popular, that people are not really accessing it, it should be archived somewhere. It's just like when you go to certain blog sites, there are old news that sometimes they even delete them. When who was popular? Ghana Tupac. When Ghana Tupac was popular, everybody is going online to search about it. What
Ghana Tupac?
This guy super. You don't know.
Super.
You bab. Yeah, the person who raised the argument, unfortunately, I'm not hearing from him. I want to make sure if he understands it. Right now, you don't even find super story, so it has been archived somewhere. Some have even deleted it from their blog site. Insanity.
This question be ABD.
We see ABD. Oh, so Yanko. They
Tupac
brought
die. Super die.
Tupac. I don't know. No, you know that Super no die.
Why you know him?
Tupac day before I'm offered day. There be two different people.
Yeah, I'm be different.
So yeah,
you know be on Super the Nima boy no. Super no die. If be the current one, the Ahonfe guy will die. The below snapshots from AWS. So this one be AWS documentation. It's a cloud service provider that does not directly store, transmit, or process any customer cardholder data. However, AWS customers may create their own card data environment that store, transmit, or process cardholder. Now we okay, the covered AWS services that are already PCI DSS compliant can be found within AWS services in scope by compliance program. If you would like to learn more about these services or have interest, C is incorrect. Some AWS services are PCI compliant, but additional steps relating to deployment may be required by the customer to be fully PCI compliant. Additional steps relating to deployment may be required. Okay, so it has to do with the customer activity. Yeah, so you can't ensure that a service is made PCI compliant. It is not your but yes, you have to, when you are choosing the service, yes, you can choose a service which are PCI compliant. Oh wow. 18 ways on. So a life cycle policy. Life cycle policies are not dependent on access parties, as is in the case of intelligent steering. Instead, they are pre-configured with transitioning rules. Yeah, you choose A. So yes, so with life cycle, you tell it that okay, move it to this place after this number of days. So that one, they work with access patterns. It's about you configuring the thing. That is with access patterns. I used to automatically transition objects through different storage classes in accordance with pre-configured rule. The rule will typically move the objects regardless of how frequently it is accessed.
This question, if be one of those questions we know should I read down well. Because Charlie, honestly, now they see they look very enticing. That's why everyone
you read A, finish, you read B, finish, go read C. You say you know read it same well.
No, actually, done well, I see you. Even I remember even I said Reddit. We say, yeah, wait, just choose four.
No. Easy. This one was actually the last question. So I really spend time here. This is the last question.
Spend time on this question. Wow.
Yeah. We spend because when transitioning objects,
because I try to say I talk to you. This one be the last one. Then the more time it is, so at the wedge. It be the D at the guys I know read. Because immediately I see cannot be configured and where I left her. But these three I read them.
There will be three where we type the A, where the C come now, where you go choose.
Where I choose C.
Yeah.
You bab,
but you must read them well nowadays.
Yeah, so what is the difference between life cycle policies and intelligence theory? Now, life cycle policies are not dependent on access patterns, right? So
that is true.
And then with intelligent, okay. So as I said,
if the policy be the user or the customer way it will put the policy.
It be the user, so it be manually like configured.
Okay. The theory, the AWS system itself.
Itself look at the access patterns and then.
So now let's read the C.
And then the C is
different storage classes. Intelligent theory is automatic.
That is true.
Cycle, so this place for
both are automatic. Just that one is pre-configured and one is done by the user.
Exactly.
So now the life cycle policy has to be manually triggered. Okay, so you see where the thing they come. So the
manually they there no, the manually triggered.
The transitioning is not manual, but the policy setup is manual.
Yes.
The policy setup is manual, but the trigger is not manual.
It's not manual.
So if you don't read
the manually, I know with them well like it's not manually triggered.
Now, sometimes if you say they follow the terms, they say if they learn and some of them just look out for one, look out for this. Sometimes you follow, I will tell you. If you read and understand properly.
Because Brofoso can
So they say
but you have passed. Somebody will say you don't have to get all correct.
No, you don't have to get all correct.
Help us improve it. I'll give you 3. That question I'm one question I'm selected 2. You will select 2. The answer is 1. Where you must see for 1. Yes, I'll give you 3.
This be exam 1. Which exam 1?
Yes, so this is exam 1. I mean, watching I bet exam 2.
130 minutes.
It's 130 minutes. That'll be like 2 hours, 10 minutes, right? 2 hours and 10 minutes.